this is a custom tkinter checkbox. I click on it. Now it is selected. I click on it again. It is deselected. It has these properties set by default. The on value equal to 1 when it is checked. The up value equal to 0 when it is unchecked. I say by default because I didn't set any of the values when I created here the checkbox. I set only the property command and the master property. The command, I set it to this function, the callback function. It simply print the message command triggered. This is why each time I click on the checkbox, we have this message printed out. So the on value is equal to 1, the off value is equal to 0. You can also associate to it a variable. I didn't do this. This is why it prints no variable is defined when I click on this button, access variable. And you can get the value of the checkbox, or the best way to get the value of the checkbox is by calling the get method of the checkbox. Here I'm using get. It returns 1 because the on value is equal to 1 and the checkbox is checked. I deselect the checkbox. I call get. It gets me 0 because the checkbox is unchecked and the off value is equal to 0. The on value and off value by default, they are of type int. Here in the code, I got the type of the on value and the off value just by calling type, and also by calling one of the values by using the cget method that got me the on value properties. I checked the type and I print it out in this label or label. I also get the values of the on value and the off value, converted them to string to also be able to display them in this two labels. We have our buttons. The first one that access the value of the associated variable to our checkbox or of our checkbox, and the second one also calls the get method of the checkbox. They both have the command set to this method access, but they use lambda to be able to call access with different parameters. The first one use the parameter or the value 0, the second one 1. So we have the access 0 will access the variable if the variable property is not defined. We also use cget method of the checkbox if it's not defined. It will print the message no variable is defined. Otherwise, it will simply call the cget method to get the value of the variable, and then since it is a variable or a tkinter variable, to get its value you call get. Here we didn't have defined or associated any variable to our checkbox. We are going to do it right now. So first we will set the on value to 1, even if it's equal to the default on value. Off value equal to 0, and the variable is equal to this d variable interval initialized by the value 1. So now if we will try to run our code, we will see that the results will be a little bit different, since we set the first value of our variable to 1 and associated to our checkbox that has the on value equal to 1. The checkbox by default was checked. I call get, it got me 1. I access the value of the variable, also have the 1 value. I uncheck the checkbox. I call get, it get me 0. I access the variable, it's equal to 0. Why now get method or using get is the best way to get the value of the checkbox and not using the variable? Let's say we have our variable, for example 5 set to 5, and that is not equal to neither the on value or the off value, and then we run our code again. We have our checkbox not checked, and if we access the variable, it's equal to 5, doesn't mean anything. If we call to get, it gets me the right value 0, the off value because the checkbox is deselected. I check the checkbox until after I checked the box, the variable will give me the right value. If I deselect it, now it will also give me the right value. So this behavior, or this is the right behavior, but at first it got the wrong value. This is why it's not preferable to access the value of the checkbox using the variable. another reason. Let's say I'm using on value equal to string. We have the on value equal to 1, the string value, and the off value equal to 0, the on value, and I will set my value, my int variable, to 1. Even if I set it to 1, we can see here that my checkbox is not unchecked. It's not checked by default because the value is of type 1 and it has no meaning right now for the on value that is of type string. But when I check it, I get the value is equal to 1 and check it, it's equal to 0. It weirdly also get the right behavior. But now if I set the on value to on and the off value to the string of that I cannot convert to any int value, and I call or run my code again, if I access the variable or I click on the checkbox and access the variable, it will generate an error. But if I call it here, at first it will not generate any error because there is no associated on or off value, but using it will always get me the right value. Now if I set it correctly, so to set it correctly, my variable must have to be of type string. I set its value to any value again to see its behavior. Now it's not checked, but if I check the checkbox, get the value, now it's working correctly. But at first it wasn't. If I run it again and I get the value, again it has no meaning. But use get, or by using get, it will always be correct. So to create or to use the checkbox, it's preferable to initialize your on value and off value, so you will be in control. Decide about the type of the on value and the off value. We can see here they are of type string because we set them to string values. If you want to have a variable associated to your checkbox, it must be of the same type, and also it must have one of the two values, the on or the off value. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.